If you're going through a divorce and you own a home together, you probably have a lot of questions and not a lot of clear answers. What actually happens to the house? Do you have to sell it? Can one of you keep it? What if we can't agree on what to do? I'm going to walk you through exactly how this is going to work in a divorce, including the options that most people don't know that they have, so you can go into this process feeling informed instead of overwhelmed. I'm Amy Ryland, a licensed real estate agent in the St. Louis area and part of the Gentry Group home team. We specialize in working with clients going through a divorce, which means that we understand that selling a home in this situation is completely different from a typical transaction. It's not just about the market, it's about the timelines, legal considerations, emotions, and making sure that both parties feel heard. When a couple divorces and they own a home together, there are really three paths forward. Let's break each one down. Option one, sell the home and split the proceeds. This is the most common outcome. You sell the home, pay off the mortgage and closing cost, and then divide whatever equity is left according to your divorce agreement. This is often the cleanest option because it gives both parties a clean financial break, liquid assets that they can then use to move forward. And the key thing to know here is timing. Missouri doesn't require you to sell before the divorce is final, but the longer that the process drags on, the more complicated co-ownership can get, especially if one party has already moved out. Option two, one spouse buys out the other spouse. Sometimes one spouse wants to keep the home, especially if there are kids involved and the stability matters. In this case, the spouse keeping the home typically refinances the mortgage into their name alone and then pays the other spouse their share of the equity. The challenge? You have to qualify for the mortgage on a single income, and you need an accurate home valuation to know what the buyout number actually is. That's where having a real estate professional involved really can help. Option number three, co-ownership after divorce. This is a lot less common, but it does happen, especially when the kids are still in school and the parents agree to hold off on selling. You stay on the mortgage together until a set date or a triggering event like the youngest child graduating from high school. This can work, but it really requires a very clear written agreement about who pays what, who maintains the home, and what happens if one party stops cooperating. I strongly recommend having your attorney spell this out in extreme detail. Missouri is an equitable distribution state, which people often assume means a 50-50 split, but equitable doesn't automatically mean equal, it means fair, which can look different depending on your situation. A few things that affect how equity gets divided: how much each spouse has contributed financially and otherwise, whether the home was owned before the marriage, that could be considered separate property, the economic circumstances of each spouse, including earning potential going forward, any agreement you've already made, like a prenup. If you and your spouse can't agree on a division, a judge is going to decide. That's why most attorneys encourage negotiated settlements. You have far more control over the outcome. Here's what I see tripping people up consistently, and it almost never comes up in the legal conversations. The home's value needs to be accurate. If you're dividing equity, you need to know what the home is actually worth right now, not what Zillow says, not what you paid for it, and not what your neighbor sold it for 2 years ago. An inaccurate number means one person is getting more than they're entitled to. That creates conflict, and sometimes it derails the whole settlement. The home's condition affects the outcome. Homes going through a divorce often have deferred maintenance, and understandably, nobody's in the headspace to worry about things like gutters. But when it comes time to sell, condition does directly affect the price, and a little strategic prep work can make a meaningful difference in what both parties are going to walk away with. Timing matters more than people realize. If the market is strong, listing quickly can net significantly more than waiting 6 months while the whole situation drags on. I've seen couples leave real money on the table simply because they couldn't agree on when to list. Not every real estate agent is equipped to handle a divorce sale. It's genuinely a different dynamic. Here's what I'd look for. Someone who has experience working with divorce attorneys and understanding the legal timelines. Someone who can communicate equally and professionally with both parties, especially when they're not on the same page. Someone who won't take sides. Your agent works for the transaction, not for the spouse. That's why we assign one of our agents to each spouse so that they truly feel like they have a non-biased advocate on their side. Ideally, someone with specific experience in divorce real estate. It's a completely different transaction. The wrong agent in this situation can make an already stressful process so much worse. The right one can actually help move things along. If you're in the St. Louis area and you're navigating a divorce that involves a home, I'd love to be a resource for you. You don't have to have everything figured out to reach out. Sometimes you just need someone who can walk you through your options without judgment. There's a link in the description where you can schedule a free, completely confidential call with me or my partner. No pressure, no pitch, just clarity. And if this video was helpful, please share it with someone who might need it. It's this kind of information that's really hard to find when you're in the middle of it. I'll see you on the next one.